It's gone from literally $5 a share to $150 a share. And
Wow.
and now
They made a lot of money.
Ernie
They've made a
Garcia
lot of.
Sr. has been literally selling all of the stock that he bought 2 years ago, and then some.
Right. You got a couple of stock ideas you want to share?
Sure, yeah, and so for me, I should say, I probably should have said this at the opening. I never let macro concerns get in the way of taking advantage of micro opportunities. I'm a value investor at heart, and so when I find stocks that kind of tick those four legs of the trading tool, a cheap stock with good technicals, very bearish sentiment, and maybe fits into a kind of a macro theme, I'm buying the stock. And those are the types of things that I look for. A lot of times my idea generation just comes from the insider buying and selling. So yeah, and this is something that I've followed since back in my days of Bear Stearns, is kind of looking at what are these executives doing with their money. And I'll just point out, NVIDIA announced earnings yesterday, and Jensen Huang has, sold $500 million worth of stock in the open market over the past 3 months for the first time in his career. He's always exercised options and sold shares to, pay taxes and things. These are the first open market sales that he's ever made as CEO and founder of this company, which to me is a big hint as to where he thinks we are in this AI cycle.
Yeah.
Stocks that go through a parabolic ascent don't correct by going sideways. And so I think, to me, that applies to NVIDIA more, at least as much to any stock that I've seen, that this has been a parabolic ascent. And it's not going to correct by moving sideways for a number of years. Momentum in this one is critical, and momentum has been waning for the past several months, which is a very clear, and really that makes perfect sense if you think this stock is being driven by all those people buying 0-day to expiry call options and leveraged 2 times leveraged single stock ETFs and these types of things. Those types of traders run out of patience when the stock stops going up. In terms of some of the other stocks that I've looked at recently, I wrote about Carvana a couple of years ago when the insiders there, the Garcia father and son tandem, were buying massive amounts of stock. Right, the stock sold off massively, thinking it was going to go in late 2022. People thought it was going to go bankrupt. I've bought and sold a couple of cars through Carvana. I love it as a consumer. It's the best experience I've ever had. Essentially, they make it so easy to buy or sell a car that it's silly. I mean, it's like worlds better than going to a dealership and dealing with that whole nightmare. So when the Garcia, Ernie Garcia Jr. is the CEO, and his father was one of the largest shareholders and kind of funded the company. A family history of operating in the used car business. We're buying literally tens of millions of dollars worth of stock, around $20 a share. Ended up falling down to $4 or $5 a share. It was a great sign that they had a lot of confidence that the company wasn't going to go bankrupt. And when it came clear that they were able to kind of come to terms on with debt holders and things, they weren't going to go bankrupt. The stock went nuts to the upside. Now, I'll point out it's gone from literally $5 a share to $150 a share. And and now
they made a lot of money.
Ernie Garcia Sr. has been literally selling all of the stock that he bought 2 years ago, and then some.
Right.
So
so this one's done. This one is done from your methodology.
If you were to ask the Garcias, yes, they're telling you with their actions that the stock is done and it's time to take profits here. So
well, if they're buying at 20 and selling at 100, 120, their 10 million is 50 or 60 million. So I'm not surprised they're taking some profit.
I'm surprised people don't pay more attention to this stuff, because there are certain insiders at certain companies that are just fantastic traders of their own shares. And, there's a handful of companies that I watch. Ulta is another one that Warren Buffett started buying, and the insiders there, when they buy, it's a great indicator. I haven't seen insiders kind of come in to buy stock there at Ulta yet, but it's another one where the insiders have an unbelievable track record. And so to not pay attention to that, you're really missing out on one of the most important indicators of what's going on there. Ulta is a cosmetics retailer, And so, you know, Berkshire Hathaway recently took a stake and the stock popped. It's one that's kind of on my radar because, you know, when insiders start buying it, it's a good sign that, you know, business is doing better than analysts expect and whatnot. And so this is a tool that I think if you're a value investor can be really, really helpful. I mean, to me, I use the insider action to confirm my thesis of whether this is a cheap stock and undeservedly cheap. If the insiders are validating my opinion, fantastic. If they're not, then I'm more inclined to kind of stay away.